Thank you so much. It's really a privilege to be here. And I have a quick video that I'd like to kind of start my presentation with and then share a little bit about what we do in and around Delhi. And then I'll be happy to catch anyone after. So if we can please run the video.
हमने जो ये सॉन्ग लिखा है, जो बना हुआ सॉन्ग है, वो बैठे थे हम कमरे में और हमारे जो भैया लोग हैं, टीचर हैं, वो पहले वर्ड्स लिखे हैं, फिर उसमें वर्ड्स में से बच्चों ने बोला भैया पहले ये आएगा वर्ड्स, फिर ये आएगा, कुछ बच्चों ने अपने कमेंट डाले, फिर हम अपने भी कुछ शब्द डाले।
इनके बीच गाँव के पता नहीं ये कैसा फील करेंगे, बेटर फील करेंगे या कैसा, मगर मुझे बहुत मज़ा आ रहा था कि इनके सामने मुझे डट के गाना है, बहुत मस्त गाना है, जिन ये भी इंजॉय करें और मैं भी इंजॉय करूँ।
Thank you. There was no need for applause, but okay. So I'll just share a little bit about if we can just go back, if you guys recall, there was a boy who spoke in the video. So his name is Mandeep. He's been a student of ours for about 2 years now, and he's continuing for the 3rd year. So there's something that Mandeep said that we didn't run in the video, but if anyone is interested, we've just put out new stories from our children. So he said something really interesting that ties back with what a few of the speakers earlier have said. Actually I prepared something slightly different, but I've decided to kind of change tracks a little bit and talk about sort of dreams and taking creative risks and what my experience has been with that, and then what the organization and what we do and what our experience with that has been. So Mandeep said, I have many stresses and tensions. My biggest worry is that in this environment, he's talking about the community in Okhla, which is a industrial part of the city where he lives. In this environment, I will not be able to achieve what I want or realize my dreams. Programs like Music Basti, and he's part of other art programs as well, are like a ray of hope. I feel I can really learn from the teachers who come here. They inspire me because they too have dreams and are working towards them. And one of the sort of general themes that I really like to talk about, especially when speaking with students, whether it's students we work with or you guys saw some of our teachers in the video. So we work with a lot of young people like yourselves, maybe a little bit younger, a little bit older, who are musicians, teachers. We train them as teachers. One of the really sort of critical things that we talk about is this idea of having a dream. What does it mean? Where is it going to take us? And I just wanted to sort of also share, I think Mr. Kailash Satyarthi addressed you yesterday. So one of the things that he has said about dreams that I sort of personally identify with is, he said he dreams of a world free of child labor, a world where every child goes to school, where every child gets his rights. So what our organization and our project sort of focuses on is how music learning, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, and also I think the first talk that you guys had in the morning about the brain and how it develops, a lot of compelling research now is coming out on how music plays a very critical role in developing the brain as well. So we focus on how music builds some of these skills, and you can call them life skills, soft skills, social emotional learning. There's many terms people use for this now, but it essentially means this set of skills, more or less. We focus on these because we find these are relatively easier to measure. Communication, creativity. Creativity is a big one that I'll be focusing on in the next 10 minutes when I'm talking. Leadership, critical thinking and problem solving, and awareness of the community and the environment that we live in. What we do, just to share a little bit about where we work before we talk about what we do. So the students that you saw in the video, Parvati and Mandeep, they go to MCD schools in the city. How many of you have been to an MCD school? Anyone studied at an MCD school? No. So Vimal also spoke about how, and I thought I would use what he said, we live in scary times, and I would sort of just like to kind of reinforce that point, whether the schooling system in our country is concerned, and not to get into statistics and all of that, I'm sure most of you have read, but we really live in appalling times. The condition of the schools that most students we go to is unimaginable. I mean, some of the sort of ordeals they deal with on a day-to-day basis, whether it's in the classroom, outside the classroom, the standard of education that is being imparted, it's appalling. Our programs such as these, whether it's art programs, I mean, the larger goal is that they are integrated into the school system, but we function largely outside the school system, after school, in community centers where these children are going into access tuitions, or sort of after school programs where they're basically trying to catch up with what's being taught in the classroom, but because the classroom sort of level and of instruction and delivery is so poor that they are being forced to spend the remaining few hours of every day catching up on whether it's math or English. And anyone volunteer to teach ever with various organizations? A few of you. So you'll be sort of well versed with and familiar with the sort of situation that I'm talking about. So we run something called the Resound Community Music Learning Program. So the video, that 1-minute video we put together, is from our annual concert. After 1 year of teaching, 150 students performed at that concert who've been part of our program for about 8 months. And this year we are hoping to work with about 250 students. Our teachers, some of whom you saw, they work with us for at least 1 year or more. And we also run a teacher training program. So how young musicians, any young musicians here? Quite a few. How young musicians can become teachers, and how can you be really effective in the classroom space, working with a group of students, how can you take them through that process of learning. And what we are also working on is curriculum development and testing. How can we build a sort of a robust kind of a music program that introduces music to children? And for those of you who don't understand Hindi, the students in the video were also talking about songwriting and what that process has been like. And our program focuses a lot on songwriting and helping students kind of tell stories from their communities. The song that they're singing it's quite a sort of empowering one about sort of taking charge and how these kids believe that they are the future. But also on looking at what kind of curriculum will work best in this context, and that's something that we are also working on. So as I was saying, some of our students, we work with students in two kinds of contexts: in residential care, who may or may not have families, they're living in institutionalized government or non-sort of NGO care, and also students who live in large slum communities, such as the kids that spoke earlier in the video. Just a quick sort of snapshot of what happens in the classroom. These are some of the games, some of the tools that we use. A lot of our teaching methods are improvisatory. In other words, how do you get the whole group to work together? People spoke about a network classroom. One of the speakers spoke about earlier, where it's not sort of one-way transferring of information and knowledge, but how are the students working together with the teacher? How are you really engaging with kids? It's, I think, sort of, it's a small program in the sense in terms of the methodology, but it really sort of contradicts what's happening typically in the school that they're going to. Performance is a big one. Listening, ensemble and choir work. Just to clarify, I mean, we don't really get into a lot of instrument instruction, but it's about group learning, singing, choir-based programs. Some of our students do learn instruments as well. Teacher training. Each year that we've run this program, we're sort of trying to increase the amount of teacher training we're able to do for teachers. A big gap here, whether I think it's at MCD schools or it's with the kind of students and teachers that we work with, is that they come in with little or no teaching experience or any sort of formalized teaching experience. So we're trying very hard now, in fact, to sort of really up our game in terms of how well our teachers are being able to deliver what they do in the classrooms that we work in. That's a sort of a look at one of our classrooms, which is in a residential care center. That's at a community center. Just to go back a little bit, I mean, while we do sort of the predominant outcome that we look at, which is very hard to measure, though, are certain life skills that students are learning through the program. Some of the musical outcomes that we look at are there in terms of music fundamentals, how can they apply those, and then enhanced awareness overall. We also have workshops with musicians and artists who come from different parts of the world. It's a really kind of engaging program in that sense to have. So this was actually a old sort of traditional jazz band, and we weren't sure actually if the kids would enjoy it, but they really did. This was last year. Community concerts, that's one of the community concerts that we organized where students from the community come in. While the video you saw was a public concert where we had parents, community members, various people from the music industry come in as well, and just people from Delhi, anyone around. It was a free concert. We also try and organize concerts in the community where students are able to kind of engage with their parents, people that live there. It's a very different platform of sort of engagement and putting something forward in the communities that they live in. And the video that we saw from our annual concert. Just sort of, I have a few notes here because I find it difficult to kind of remember talking points. What I wanted to also share was in terms of just going back now to sort of the methodology that we use. As I mentioned, a lot of it is improvisation based and sort of focused on the idea of taking creative risks. So teaching children how to kind of engage with each other, build communication skills, leadership skills. Leadership is a big one that we're trying to kind of encourage and incorporate into our program as well. And I believe that sort of TGELF has a sort of a leadership module that it runs also. The reason that we've picked music to sort of run our program, and now we've been running this for about 7 years, moving into the 8th year now. And we've been running this particular one-year model for the last 2 years, and we're sort of really excited to be launching it now into the 3rd year, is because, I mean, there's some sort of critical skills that music is sort of proven to show. Some of those include things like improving grammar, language, motor skills, then also certain sort of skills of empathy, reducing anxiety. There have been some very fascinating studies as well on sort of the neurological impacts of listening to music, engaging with music, performing music, playing an instrument. But the sort of critical connection that we're trying to make between our program and the sort of larger education system that the kids we work with are involved in is that typically the education system, I mean, I think you and I are quite privileged in the sense that the sort of schools we've been to, education has been a real privilege for us. But that's not how it should be. These kind of programs, they shouldn't be a privilege. They should be something that any child in the country can access, any child in the city can access. So moving from how do we sort of combat the fact that these, like if we go back to what Mandeep said about having dreams and there being this huge gap between his aspirations and dreams and what he feels he's going to be able to achieve, programs such as this one or other kind of art programs, we feel those hold the key to being able to kind of make that connection through some of these skills that they impart. And I think skills, the ones we really sort of focus on are creativity, confidence, and leadership. Those are important whether, like people have said today, you're sort of looking at working for Google or you're looking for working for a non-profit or whatever it is. How we're able to kind of make those connections is really, really important. 2 minutes. Okay. So I just want to kind of wrap up with sort of one small sort of inspirational quote. So even in my own leadership journey, so currently our organization is supported by, I mean the synergies and name are funny, but by an organization called Enabling Leadership. They're a small European-based foundation. And even it's a stressful journey and it's a stressful process often to be leading a team of people, be working with large kind of community partners. So my mentor, who's someone called Ravi, a couple of days ago, as we'd mentioned earlier, one of the sort of goals we're working with is how do we look at our model right now? Say we work with 250 kids. Over the last few years, we've worked with 1,000 children. What will it take in our model to make it accessible to, say, 10,000 children or 20,000 children? Which aspects of it will work, won't work? So he said something very sort of critical, I think, a couple of days ago to me, and he asked me a question because we were working on this sort of vision realignment. What is the dream of the project? What is the dream of the organization? And his question to me was, what's holding you back from dreaming big? And I mean, I didn't have an answer. I mean, many things hold us back, I guess, from dreaming big. And sort of our organization is now at a sort of very critical juncture where, you know, things are going well, but we really need to push it forward. We want to look at how it can tie in with what the government is doing in Delhi, what's happening with public schools, testing our project in schools, various sort of things like that, trying to push it forward. So one thing that he said sort of in his question, and I like to kind of finish my talk on that note. So he said, if your goal is to sail a big boat, you have to be willing to sail into deep waters. And I thought that was a very sort of interesting way of looking at this question. I think a lot of you also probably at that cusp and sort of taking a big leap forward. So I would sort of leave you with that note because it's made a big impact on me, so hopefully it'll make a big impact on you. Thank you.
TGELF, leading the change.